moment. We're 1 minute from start, and I'm just going to invite Deb Flynn to give me a green check mark if she's there and can hear me all right. I'm going to be turning it over to Deb in a moment to introduce our presenter, Linda Wright, this afternoon.
Well, I see that the time
It's
is
wonderful.
2:30. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
I was going to say, it's wonderful to see so many of new friends and old online this afternoon. Welcome, everyone, and I welcome my colleague Deborah Flynn, Executive Director of the Quill Regional Network, and I'm going to ask Deborah to introduce our presenter, Linda Wright.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and I want to welcome everyone for coming on to this online community of practice webinar that we are having today. Just to give you a little background for those of you who may not know about it, but we have been hosting the online community of practice. It's at your desk training for the last 3 years. It was a collaboration between Contact North and the Learning Networks of Ontario. And now we've expanded it into being having our support organizations such as CLO, Community Literacy of Ontario, and the College Sector Committee are also sitting on that. When we looked at a survey that Contact North did earlier this year, it really identified the need for all of us to spend more time learning about blended learning. And we were really thankful that our e-channel providers were able to support that by coming and giving these presentations. And so we are, and we're really happy to have them giving the first four, and the last one will be done with a group of practitioners who use online tips and tools. It was mentioned in this year's budget that by Minister Sousa that they're interested in blended learning, and so it really fits into all of the targets of meeting what the ministry would like us to do. So I would like to introduce Linda Wright. She is the director of Sue Hudson Literacy Council's Good Learning Anywhere, has been with eChannel for a number of years, and has worked on the Oh yes, worked on Good Learning Anywhere. She's also, we've worked together in the past on a project that Quill did when we were putting the task-based activities portal together. So I'm really happy to have Linda with us today, and I'm excited to hear about the myth busting that she's gonna just tell us all about. So Linda, I will give you the time now to start your presentation, and thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Deborah and Sarah. That's great. Sarah's got us all warmed up and ready to go, so I appreciate that. As we do go through, if you do have any questions about things you want, just make sure that you use that text chat down there, and I'm going to get Sarah to monitor that for us, and if you have any questions about the platform and things as we go along, please feel free to use that and as we go along. And the other thing I'd love to see as we go along today too is lots of icon use. So I hope we have a few chuckles. I hope that we can give people a bit of round of applause when they are doing some good stuff, and you know what, even presenters like round of applause. So if you find that you agree with something, feel free to give me a green check mark. If you find that maybe you want to boo me, I'm hoping not, but if you're maybe not so sure, give us that red X as well. And those give us a little feedback as we go through. And we encourage our clients to do that throughout their course as well. And it also makes sure that you're not falling asleep, because I know it is mid-afternoon. So People are still popping in, so welcome to everybody that's joining us. And I am the first of several webinars that are coming up that we're really excited about, that my eChannel Lead colleagues and I have really excited to be a part of. Thank you to Learning Networks of Ontario for allowing us the opportunity to come and join you guys. I liked that at your desk learning, Deb. That was a fantastic term. And you know what, with mobile learning, maybe you're sitting outside under a tree too. So online learning certainly allows us to do a lot of different stuff. So we'll be talking about these webinars. We've also uploaded a PDF as well of the upcoming webinars that we'll pull up later. So please feel free to check those out, and I encourage you to join us for the upcoming webinars that we have coming as well. Okay, so myth busting, the top 10. I'll do a little bit of an introduction. Deb did a little bit. So my name is Linda Wright. I am with the Sue Hudson Literacy Council, which is located kind of up where the star is, and that's where our on-site program is. We also run the Good Learning Anywhere program, which is the lead for the Indigenous stream for eChannel. And so I've been with the program for about 12 years now, which is really, really hard to believe. It doesn't feel that long, but it has been. And then I look back at pictures, I realize it's been that long. You know, it's interesting, and I've been to a lot of the programs across Ontario, and I really enjoy getting into the programs, but I know that you guys have such a big job, and I always put this always makes me laugh, is, you know, people think this is what we do. We sit and we talk and we learn with our clients, but really we're doing all sorts of things, and it can be from laying on the floor and hooking up computers to shoveling off driveways, and I just know that within literacy we have such a big job. And so what we're hoping today is that we're going to burst a few myths and see if we can use blended learning to make your job a little easier. So Good Learning Anywhere, just a little bit about us, that we are the eChannel lead and that we work with Indigenous communities, organizations, and individuals to identify and meet their learning goals. And we provide a flexible online learning environment to do that. So we are, again, part of a group, part of an eChannel group, and I hope by the end you guys are going to know a little bit more about us. So I've got a little work for you guys to do before we start. I know you thought you were just going to come and listen. I know, but we gotta make sure everybody's awake first. So what we want to do is, the first thing I'd like to know is, are you with? And you're going to click on the answer that best supports you. And Sarah, can they do this without their microphones? I'm not sure how the poll works in webinar. Okay, so are you a support org, program organization that's on-site, an eChannel organization, other, or were you just actually looking for another class and you ended up here? Okay, good. It looks like most people were planning on being here. No one was looking for their beginner's guide to the internet. Good to see. We've got a few others. We've got a lot of on-sites and a few eChannels and a couple support orgs. So a great variety of groups, which I'm really glad to see everybody here. Okay, so the next task you guys had, for those on-sites, if you're an on-site program and are you currently involved in blended learning? So, not at all. What is this blended learning you speak of? Or we've tried it a little bit, we have it in our center, or yes, most of our learners are involved in blended learning. So click on the answer that is most describes kind of your site right now. Okay. So just over half or a little bit. Okay, great. And we've got a few, what is this blended learning you speak of, which is great. I'm glad you joined us today. And I'm very excited as well to have the yeses as well, because as we go through, I'm hoping you'll use that text chat and share some of your ideas and practices as we go along as well. Okay, last one for you guys, then I'll let you sit back and drink your coffee a little bit. Here it comes. What is your top concern when it comes to blended learning? Is it too confusing for practitioners and learners? Is it don't have the dollars to purchase the tech and upkeep the tech? Don't have the staff numbers to support blended learning? My site won't get credit for the work done by the learner, or my staff don't have the tech skills to set up and support. It's interesting watching you guys change your answers. That's awesome. Okay. Great. We got about almost everybody's responded. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to show you the results. So we're about 40% think it's staff numbers, right? And we know that that's a big concern. It's too confusing. I've heard that one too. Won't get credit. Okay, wonderful. Big round of applause for you guys. That's fantastic. Thank you for answering those. That really helps us as we go through and figure out where everybody's at. So that's fantastic. Okay. Well, before we get into blended learning, I think we also need to just kind of figure out what is eChannel. So as somebody who's at her desk a lot and somebody that works online, I thought, I'm going to Google eChannel and I wonder what comes up. Well, what I found out is that eChannel is an automated passenger clearance system that was introduced in Hong Kong, the Immigration Department in 2004. But that's definitely not the eChannel that we're talking about today. What we are talking about is the eChannel in adult literacy in Ontario. And there are 5 e-leads, and these are my colleagues here, the Learning Hub, FAD, Deaf Learn Now, ACE Distance, and Sue Hudson Literacy Council's Good Learning Anywhere. And we are supported by Contact North as the e-lead support organization. So it's an initiative that provides online learning opportunities for adults, but there still are a lot of myths out there about what eChannel is, how it's delivered, who's it's for, how to use it. So we're going to take a look at some of those today. Okay, so we understand a little bit what the eChannel is and the groups that provide it. A little bit. We're going to get more, but a little bit on who's involved in that eChannel and what it does. But what we want to know too is what is blended learning. So when I looked at the LBS guidelines, eChannel is a web-based literacy training that can be used by an individual learning independently or as programming that is blended with personal instruction. Then we look at the Cathexis report, and I'm hoping we're all, give me a green check mark if you're familiar with the Cathexis report. I think just about everybody is. It's all around. In there it said, eChannel is a distance learning service within the LBS program delivered through 5 service provider organizations. Learners may access eChannel on its own or in addition to in-person training. And then it has blended learning. The last thing that I looked at, I thought, where else are our LBS instructors and staff going to be looking and for what blended learning is or what eChannel is? And so I took a look at CLO's literarybasics.ca, which is great. They offer some great training. And what they say is, in general, blended learning refers to a combination of face-to-face training, so on-site, sitting down with someone, whether to one-to-one or classroom, and online learning. However, for the CAMS data entry purpose, blended learning refers to a combination of face-to-face through an LBS service provider with eChannel delivery only. So blended learning definitely has to do, from a ministry's point of view and from these guidelines that we have, is that face-to-face as well as some eChannel opportunities for the clients as well. So let's get into these myths and burst some of them. Number 1, and I've heard all of these. All 10 of these that I have heard, or that I have written down here, I have heard from on-sites. So I didn't pull these out of a hat. I didn't make them up. These are things that we have heard over our visits to programs, over dealing with communities. These are things that we've heard. So the first one that we often hear is, well, Contact North is delivering courses to my learners. And that's the first myth we're gonna pop. So Contact North has many, many roles. They support the 5 e-leads of eChannel by coordinating outreach and facilitating our meetings. So we meet regularly to talk about best practices, kind of similar to the LSPs, but it's our own little avenue where we can kind of talk and look at ways we can improve eChannel. It also holds web conference software license for us for Saba, and as well as our Plato license as well. It also provides the Moodle environment, which is really important too. Good Learning Anywhere is a very small organization. We don't have a tech department, so we do rely on Good Learning Anywhere for these things, and they do it for all the eChannel leads that want to use them. And they also promote eChannel through social media, course guides, videos, and by creating digital tools. And at the end of this, we're going to give you guys a link, and on it has a bunch of the links that I'm going to talk about today. So don't feel you have to be copying them down or scrambling to research them in Google or something like that. But one of the things that we did put on that is eChannel partner podcasts, which is a little bit of a tongue twister, Sarah. And with those, they're a great tool developed by Contact North. And again, trying to get information out to the field on what eChannel is and what they do. They also really support eChannel by holding an online assessment repository, as well as the portal that I'm hoping many of you have seen. It's got a lot of great information in there. Is that it's for practitioners and clients, as well as the forum for the LBS Online Community of Practice. So they're, oh, Joanne's here. Hi, Joanne. See your message in text chat. So Contact North, well, they don't deliver courses, they don't hire instructors, they don't have curriculum. They are there to provide us access. And literacy is just such a small part of what Contact North does. And what we really appreciate about them from Good Learning Anywhere's point of view is our learners are learning, and then it's opened up to the hundreds, maybe even thousands, I'm not sure what you're at now, Sarah, but educational partners that Contact North works from university to college to training. All sorts of things happen under that Contact North bigger umbrella. And so it's kind of a foot in the door for our learners into online learning. So the second myth, okay, give me a green check mark if you think that eChannel organizations all offer the same courses. Green check mark. Red X if you think we offer different ones. Yeah, I guess because it is a myth, it's not really a true or false, right? We all know it's a myth. Okay. So eChannel organizations all offer the same course. No, not, well, now math is math, right? We're all offering upgrading. Everybody has a math. But what the eChannel leads do very well, because we all have the Hub is the Anglophone stream, the FIDA is the Francophone stream, the ACE Online is KESBA, and DeafLearn Now. We all offer our courses to best suit our streams. Okay, that means the course content, that means the way they're delivered. So for Good Learning Anywhere, for example, we have 3 platforms. Okay, we use Saba, and we use Moodle, and we use Plato. And what we do, and again, each of the eChannel leads says this, is the fact that your learners are unique. Each learner you have is unique. And what we try to do is we try to make it flexible so that it meets the needs of the various learners that you have and the various learners that we have that are coming from outside LBS as well. So Saba, so just like this, a little more interactive in the aspect of we get them to do more work than I'm making you guys do today, is the live classes. We also have short classes in Moodle where there's a little bit more interaction in forum style and that type of piece. And I think that a lot of you are familiar with Moodle. And then there's up the platform Plato, which is very independent. And I think of it more like Lego blocks, and it's already created, and we just kind of put them in a path for the learner. So there's each eChannel runs their program slightly different. We don't have a master database with everybody's information, so I can't see what they're doing in Learning Hub. They can't see what we're doing. And we each tailor ours to streamline to meet the needs of the stream and the organizations that we work closely with. Other eChannel leads use things like LearnScape, BlueJeans, Big Blue Button, and different learning management systems as well. And Wendy makes a good comment here. She says, lately I've heard the term blended used when referring to ES, LBS partnering, and it's confusing. And I'm going to give you a definite on that one. I've heard that too. People throw around that term blended learning pretty loosely, and yeah, it does get confusing. So that's why, again, we're working at trying to get rid of some of these myths that are out there. So this is another one I hear, and just give me a green check mark if you've heard it, okay? And we did see it in some of the poll that came up today, is that if I refer a client to eChannel, I won't be able to count them in my site stats. Okay, and I remember many moons ago, and Matthias is here, he'll remember, and some of those people that have been around a little while, that was a real concern at the beginning of the eChannel when it was a project. And whoops, everything okay, Sarah? Okay, and while I'm not going to get too into it right now, what I am going to say is that has changed enormously. And we are going to be talking more about that in just a month's time. Arlene is going to be talking about no body snatching allowed, which is really, it's not, she's not going to be about zombies, but what we are going to be talking about is how milestones can be shared between your organizations in eChannel and reported in CAMS. So this is a really important webinar. There is ways to take a look and to share the work that's done by the learners that you're supporting and that we're supporting. And here's the other thing that makes me really hopeful for the direction of blended learning. And again, here's Cathexis, right? So when we looked at the section that dealt with eChannel, what we saw is that it's well suited to complement in-person LBS training, right? Although it could be a standalone option for some clients, as face-to-face is standalone. And I'm going to be the first to say, and I've said it the entire time I've been working here, is eChannel doesn't replace face-to-face. You guys have such a strength, such a skill in making a connection with a learner and having them there and being able to see what they're doing, and you guys do such a great job of that. And it's certainly not our intention to come over and say, oh no, they can learn everything online. Right? That's not it. But for some people, that works for them. For some people, that's the only option they have. And so what we were excited to see in the Cathexis report is that it said to continue to fund eChannel as a complement to, rather than a replacement of in-person instruction. And this one gives me hope. It makes my spirit soar. Better integrate eChannel services with in-person services for blended learners in order to reduce competition and duplication of efforts. And I loved seeing that in there. I think that really goes a long way to hopefully being able to work on some of those processes and make it the registration form, right? 2 registrations. They got to register at your program, they got to register at my program, and maybe they're at Employment Ontario too, right? So to somehow make it easier for the client to access both services and make it easier on us as administrators to facilitate that as well. Okay. I'm going to leave that one till the end, Sarah. I see your note, and I will. I'll get back. I'll maybe touch on that at the end. Okay. So thanks. She's just passing me on some of your notes from text chat, so that's great. We'll take a look at that near the end, I think. But remind me. Don't let me forget. So the next myth, number 4. Okay. kind of leads into it as well. The last point is that we want better integration. We want to be able to support our clients more streamlined if e-channel is an option and support them in blended learning. But technology, who has the money for it, right? And the time for it. We're busy doing reports. There's just too little staff. There's too little money. We just can't do it. Green check mark if you've ever felt that way. Nobody's felt that way. Oh, a few people have. Thanks, Angela. Okay. So yeah, it's been the feeling around the field. I've heard it many times on my travels, and I get it. I get it. But there's options, and from somebody who's never done blended learning to being full into everybody in their centers doing blended learning, and they have a wonderful computer lab. That's a long process. But there are little steps that we can do along the way. And so one of the things that I wanted to touch on is just the tools that are out there. And technology, when we used to have to buy MS Word for all our computers and we had to have licenses and all that type of stuff, it could be very expensive. And it still can be. I'm not saying there's not things that we need to pay for in licenses. But there are a lot of free stuff out there, a lot of free tools out there. One of the ones that I've put on the links at the end is G Suite for Nonprofit, and that's the Google suite of tools. So we have docs and sheets and slides and a drive, and these are very similar to Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. Gmail has so many great functions, and what's neat about them is they are free, and then they're free to our learners too. So if a learner comes and learns about these at your site, they can then go and use those tools elsewhere, maybe at home, a friend's computer, and they don't have to have a license or something like that or carry around a USB thing. So there are a lot of free options out there that make it more affordable to integrate technology. Things like voice typing in Google. I love this. I tried it out and it's actually pretty good. I can save me some time instead of typing out a long document. I can use the voice typing and just speak to it, and all of a sudden it's all there for me. Great for me, my staff, and my learners. Things like gcflearnfree.org, again, there's a lot of support out there to learn about these options as well. Google has a wonderful help site, and I promise I don't work for Google, but I do thank them for making my life easier almost daily. But there's also things like GCF Learn Free out there too that offer great tutorials for you, your staff, or learners. But sometimes it's the support that we need, right? Sometimes our staff maybe just they haven't had the time, they haven't had the opportunity to learn about using these tools. And what we're really lucky to have in LBS is Alpha Plus. They do a great job of going out and doing the research for us on what technologies are out there, kind of evaluating it for the use in LBS, and then offering us the field support. And I know that we rely on them for that, and we hear a lot of and Maria's going to jump in and plug. Great. I think she's had that typed out ready to go for a little while. But it's true. It's absolutely true. And we wanted to touch on that they have a bunch of webinars and they have a bunch of technology coaching. So I encourage you to take a look, sign up for their newsletter, get in contact with Monica and her team and Maria to figure out what they can do to help support you, because they really are a great tool within LBS. The other thing I did is I put a little sun here, and that was just to remind me, and I forget who I saw this from. I saw it from one of the networks, I think, but they said something about follow us on Facebook. We had a summer student. They've got us all set up, and they've got posts all year ready to go. And I thought, what a great idea. What a great, and I don't know if you guys have heard the term reverse mentoring. But that aspect that, and I'm going to include me in it, that younger generation, younger than me, is just they are just so good in digital technology and social media and that um, and and so hiring a summer student to set up the social media and do that type of stuff, or getting a volunteer, a high school volunteer student to come in, there's a lot of opportunities that way. Or even, do you have a client that's coming in that is working on something else but is really good in technology? Can they help set up stuff? So to look outside of just having to tasking your staff and making it more difficult on your staff, is there a way? And I know that there would have to be some parameters around all of that, but some of it could be that they go and research what other organizations do and then start to develop a plan for your organization too. So I think there's a lot of options out there that doesn't just go to tasking our staff, but also that we have these supports in place in our system to kind of help us with that as well. The other thing I'll bring your attention to as well, besides Alpha Plus, is our fourth webinar in this series. And so this is going to be with Philippe, and he's going to talk about the supports that are available to make working with eChannel blended learning a win for your learners. So definitely that's going to be in January. And if you feel like this is a concern, or even if you don't, I just encourage you to take the time to come and to join us for that webinar as well. Okay, right at 3 o'clock, and we're halfway through the myths. Give me a green check mark if you're still sitting there, you're still awake, we're still doing good. Green check mark. Okay, let's exercise our SABA things. Let's do a little laugh, have a little chuckle, exercise our SABA muscles. There we go, excellent. Little round of applause. Okay, just catching up on some of the text chat. So thank you, Debbie. Debbie says, Maria's the best. I'm using their services right now. Highly recommended. And so that's great. Thank you for offering those comments as well. Okay, everybody feel all SABA stretched out, ready to go? Melody's hands up. Melody, do you have a question, or was that a leftover SABA stretch? Maybe it was a leftover stretch. Okay, leftover SABA stretch. Fantastic. Actually, I think I like that term, Sarah. I think I'm going to use that one, SABA stretch. There we go. Okay, the next myth that we've heard when we've been out and about and talking to people is this aspect of eChannel is only for the post-secondary goal path. Heard that a couple times too. Well, my clients wouldn't use it. We don't have anybody on the post-secondary path. That one kind of just breaks my heart a little bit in the aspect of it's just so important for all our learners to include the competency of used digital technology. And I pulled this from my week. Okay, this is just my week, not even maybe my full week, maybe just like Monday to now. Getting gas, I'm using the pump and doing all that kind of stuff. I got to put my credit card in, punch my numbers in, push the buttons. I flew up to Thunder Bay, and I couldn't believe that, you know, I checked in online, but then I got to the airport and I had to do something on the machine to get my baggage tag, and I was getting alerts and all that kind of stuff that my plane was late. So even just flying, I've got to have some really good digital technology skills to be able to make my flight and get my luggage on. We went out for supper, and they handed me an iPad. I kind of looked at them like, why do I have this? And it was to order our food. And all the servers, you could see them carrying these iPads around with them to do the ordering. And 2 emails I got from my kids' school. One is the Google Classroom, and I am just starting to look into this, but I'm going to be getting, I guess the first time I've heard about it, email summaries of what's going on in my son's Google Classroom. He goes to a physical school. It's across the road. He's in grade 9. But they are putting their stuff now in online and having, and I'm interested to see when I get my first summary is what's going on with that. So as a client who's coming for LBS services and I've got kids, right? I would not know. And my husband looked at me and goes, why am I getting this email? And he's pretty good with technology. And I had to explain to him, well, I think that we're going to, and so he took a look too. So it can be very confusing and just encouraging our learners and working with them. It's a safe environment. Your LBS program, you've worked hard to build relationships. You've worked hard to make a safe place for them to come and ask questions and to fail, right? To fail, because failing is just, what is that, first attempt in learning, right? So to say, oh my goodness, I've lost my password again, I don't know what that website is, I think I've lost that file, all that type of stuff can be happen in a safe environment where you're working with them. This was the other one, is it's no longer send $2 to school for your kid for pizza day. Now it's online lunchbox orders, and I don't know. My kid's going to take her own lunch because I just couldn't even figure that one out. So, so there's all these things that happen in everyday life that I really think that we can, by using technology, and you know, eChannel is a great way of incorporating that technology into the opportunities that they have in our center. Exactly. Great point, Maria. Maria says all Ontario government services are now online as well. So I do truly believe this statement that blended learning can help enhance learner outcomes and the chances for our learners' success and them reaching their goals. So number 6, well, my learners are too low level for eChannel courses, and it's just they just can't. It's too much for them. It's too low level. I'm going to not totally disagree with this. I can understand how somebody coming in and never turning on a computer before and very low reading skills, it would be very difficult. And that's why I am so grateful Face2Face is there. I'm so grateful that the Contact North sites exist. So if there's no LBS site, and that they can go and access Contact North too to help them to get online. It's just it's important for those learners to have you guys. However, I think we take that a little too far sometimes. And I'll explain why. I have reasons. Is the aspect that I think that, like we just talked about, those learners are still using technology. I don't think that there is, well, maybe there is, but I know there's people out there that have never used technology, but it's so invasive in our society right now that technology is everywhere, right? And so I think that we have the duty almost to expose our learners to technology and give them the opportunity. And I think that there are ways to do it for our lower level learners, so they have a vision, so they can see, you know what, that's really neat. I want to learn that. I want to figure out how to do that. And we want to give them opportunities to engage them, right? So there's a couple things. So with GLA, we have what we call a sharing circle. And this happens once a term right now, and it's a time where you don't have to register for our program to take it. You can sign up with an email and log in. All our clients are registered for it, enrolled in it. It's not mandatory you come, but we encourage everybody to come. Our staff come. It's a great way to start a Monday. Julie does this for us, and she gets us some fantastic guest speakers who come and talk about their different paths in life and things they've overcome and successes that they've had, and it's a really exciting time. And so we just had one this past Monday, and it was with Candace Miracle, and she's an Indigenous filmmaker and journalist, and it was a great morning of sharing some of her ideas, and she made the Creators Game. Any lacrosse fans out there? And a fantastic story about the struggle that the team had to use their own passports, but it's a great opportunity. So what I actually have seen happen, and this is actually an on-site LBS site, and what we did is we put it up on the board, and these guys were not into it at all. This was a pretty low level class, and they were not really into being there that day, and they didn't want to use the sharing circle, and it was I could see that in their faces. And so I was sitting up at the front, sitting up here, and I was saying, okay, I was running all the controls, and we could hear it was actually a lacrosse player. It was Cody Jamieson was our guest that day, and I was really excited to hear what he had to say, and he shared his love of the game and the path that he's taken. And as we were sitting here and listening to him, I could see them kind of get off their phones and kind of start to look a little bit, and maybe the hoodie came back a little bit as they stood up a little. They kind of woke up a little bit and were listening. And halfway through it, they were, hey, hit that happy face. And so I'd hit the happy face, or I'd hear, hey, hit those clappy hands, and I'd click the happy hands. And as we were going through, finally I said, you come click the happy hands. And so he came up, and I showed him where to take it and click it, right? And so then he sat there, and he was doing the icons and that type of thing. And I saw the lights kind of go on for this young kid in the aspect of, wow, I could use this to learn, right? I could use this technology. And so he was pretty excited about that, and he's been sitting in on our sharing circles ever since. But again, it's just a way to engage clients in technology. And again, there's that voice typing, right? So for a low-level learner, what a tool that is, teaching them how to get on and then use the voice typing to type out what they want to type. So there's all sorts of things there that I think we could engage in low-level learners. And what I encourage you to do is to talk to the eChannel leads that you work with and ask them, like, are there courses that you would, and I certainly have a few, that I would recommend, right? I probably wouldn't jump them into creating documents, right? That's a lot of juggling, but something that they can listen to and take in as well. So some great ideas. I love these. I can't even book a provincial campsite without using the internet this year. It's a great, you guys have some great, I know that one drives me nuts too, that camping. But yeah, excellent. Some great ideas in there. So I encourage you to keep looking at text chat, which is down here. I like this one. I went to the doctor last week, and I was handed an iPad to fill out my information. Tech is everywhere. Right? Can you imagine not ever seeing an iPad before and it's handed to you to fill out your information? Be looking at them like, I'm here to see the doctor, right? Not apply for a job or something like that. So that's great. Okay, number 7. Once a client enrolls in eChannel, I can't track what they are doing, and it's just confusing. We've heard that a lot, and you guys, again, in the poll earlier, you confirmed that is a concern for some people. So I have a few tips for you guys. In the aspect of what we are trying to do a better job of that. I know at Good Learning Anywhere, we're looking at ways of being able to communicate better. Having, one registration, having CAMs talk to each other, all those types of things definitely is something that would help that process a little bit. And again, remember that cathexis was better integrate eChannel services, right? So we're looking for, hopefully that's going to come down and there'll be some work done around that. But eChannel leads have each done some work to try and make this process a bit easier. So the Learning Hub has a referral form that you can go in and refer your client. Good Learning Anywhere, on our registration, we have an area where you can put your practitioner's email and name and give us consent to share information. So the client can do that as well, so that we have that on file. But I'm going to encourage you, like with Good Learning Anywhere, each person is given a mentor. So when someone signs up and they find out who their mentor is, make a note of that in their file. And if you have a question about that learner, instead of feeling like there's this great big abyss of GLA and who do I contact, you can send a note off to their mentor and say, hey, I'm wondering how Alex is doing. Can you give me a little bit of an update? We're happy to do that. Not a problem at all. We have close to 1,000 learners, and we're a smaller e-channel group than some of the other ones, and so we try our best to keep in touch with you guys. But if you guys can reach out and let us know if you need information on a client, that is, until we get a better system and see things come down the line from the recommendations, that's a huge help to us. The other thing is that after someone completes something, and with GLA, they get a certificate, and so have an achievement wall. Right, have an achievement wall and say, hey, bring me your certificate when you get it, and or send it to me and I'll print it off and we can put it up on that wall. And then that tells you, hey, you know, Eileen's completed this course. Do you know what I mean? It gives you a little bit of feedback of what they're doing within those courses. The other thing I say is just stay connected. Stay connected with the groups. You've done a big step here today, so I'm giving you guys a big round of applause by attending this webinar and just being informed about blended learning and what is offered and that type of stuff. And because we're online, most of us are very involved in social media, so I encourage you to join our Facebook and follow on Twitter and figure out what social media the eChannel stream use, as far as maybe the one you use, like, figure out which eChannel leads the information you want to get and follow their social media, or follow all of ours too. That's fantastic as well. And then I know that each lead tries to get information out to the field, and one of the things GLA is doing is lunch and learns at the beginning of kind of each term. And so look for those opportunities, which are often posted on Facebook, sent out by your networks, and come join, send your staff. We'd love to see people. So I encourage you to just stay connected and see what's going on, and that'll help know what's going on with your learners as well. The other thing is our number 3 webinar by Courtney. She's going to talk about, she's going to take a look at tips and strategies that you can use when you're taking advantage of the eChannel blended learning. So because we know that you guys all have to juggle so many other tasks, and so we're going to take a look at maybe some best practices and the ways that can be a little smoother for you guys. Okay, we're almost there, guys, so we're going to have some time for some questions. But number 8 is eChannel doesn't use the OELCF. I've heard that too. Somebody said, well, I can't refer my learners to eChannel because they you know, it doesn't do the competencies and milestones. But it's not true. We have the same reporting requirements you guys have. So we do follow the OELCF and administer milestones online. But the exciting thing is that LBS programs can work with eChannel leads, where both agencies can take credit for administering a milestone to the learner. And I'm going to stop for a minute. I'm going to highlight that. Okay? And it's going to be in more of our, just so that we know, is that what a great thing, because that they're acknowledging now is that you guys support the client in blended learning to take online classes so that we can both take credit for administering milestone now. So very excited to see that come down. Okay, number 9, I'll lose clients and they won't come on site anymore, dropping my stats. I'll lose them to eChannel. It's true, it was a huge fear, and there was at one point where the stats wouldn't allow, it did, there's been some history with that. But what I'm really excited to do is that when I'm talking to most sites now, they're starting to see that eChannel and blended learning is a way that they can actually increase their stats, and that it's not something that's going to come and snatch away their clients. And Arlene's going to get more into that in her session in October. But I was looking around and I was like, there's so many benefits. How do I summarize them? And I thought CLO did a great job highlighting kind of the top 3. For me, and it was that there's less face-to-face instruction required, which makes it possible for in-person service providers to serve more learners. Okay, so having someone might take time to get them up online and going, but then they're working and you've got time to maybe intake someone else and work with some people that maybe need more of your time. There's increased flexibility for students allowing them to progress at their own pace online and access the material with in-person support is not available. This is kind of important for maybe that lower level learner too, because you can go back. We have clients that go through a 2-hour course and then they go back and they listen to the recording because they need that. That's their learning. And I actually, you know, I've seen that happen as well, as somebody has to go through it again. And so being online, you're not sitting there repeating yourself. They can do their own, they take control, which I love. I love about online learning is that it gives the client some control over their learning as well. And then learners may access more learning time than could be provided by either method alone. So combined, we're giving them a more full-rounded experience as well. So currently, this is XYZ LBS program, and clients come to them and they sit in the classroom and they assess them and they learn. And so their stats have just stayed constant. That's how they have done it for many, many years. And I know that's not all of you guys, but I've come across sites that this is exactly their model right now. But I want to propose to you guys a little bit of a different model. I want to propose to you guys that perhaps this is your program and you do have learners coming in, okay? Oh, I need some service, I'm going to come in. But what other opportunities are there for you to do some outreach? And perhaps it's blended learning. So think about those areas maybe in your community that might have access to a computer lab but don't have LBS services right now. And historically, they've had to come to you to get those. Where could you go in your community and sit down and have a couple hours maybe where you could reach some people like that? So I'm thinking about things like, and feel free to use your text chat. I'm looking for ideas from you guys too. So I'm gonna, we find this is a big one. Okay, Ontario Works, often. Great, Shannon. That's a good one too. The library, right? People are coming into the library, there's computers there. Could you work with the library, sit down and say, hey, can I come in? I'll talk to people. I'll just register them. I could talk to them about our face-to-face program. I can also tell them about eChannel as well. Band offices, great, Ladia. Excellent. Yep. Oh, you guys are going fast now. Churches. I just heard about an awesome project at a church. And I thought, wow, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. They had computers, people coming in. I thought, you know, what a great community opportunity as well. Employment services, community hubs, legions. Well, that could be a fun place to take a course. But yeah, there are some schools. Yep, some schools. What about shelters or senior centers or maybe a new drop-in for mothers, right? Or drop-in for new mothers, not drop new mothers. But those types of places that people are yeah, early years, fantastic, right? They have a program, the kids are there, come in, talk to them, show them, you know, take some laptops if you have them, or if they have computers already, talk to the community. Soup kitchens, youth drop-in centers, perfect. These are great ideas, guys. Ways to outreach, but again, you don't have the staff to go there and sit there for you know, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But would you have the staff to maybe go and say, okay, you know, Monday mornings every other week, we're going to come in and talk to you guys, see how you're doing, follow up, see if there's anything you need me to help you with face-to-face, and then in between, you're working on your online learning, right? Great, Sue. Sue says, we've been using computer-based learning for so many years, I can't remember a time when we didn't have computers, so that's awesome. But so I challenge you guys to think about outside of that box. Is there maybe a small community that driving in, if you don't have you don't have resources, or sorry, you don't have access to transportation, is there a small community you could go out to and you know they've got some computers. You could sit and talk to people about it. So think about some. I think that the blended learning approach can also really help a center meet their performance targets, right? I think that outreach and it doesn't take a lot of time. It might take some time to make those partnerships, those types of things, but I think that it could also really help you meet your targets. Okay, last one. We're almost at the hour. There are no e-courses in eChannel that my learners would be interested in. And I've heard that too. I've heard it. And what I'm going to say back to that one is you really don't know until you try. So maybe there's a client that's been sitting there and dreaming of, they're just dreaming of the aspect of that they want to become a bookkeeper. And I'm just pulling this one out, but maybe they really wanted to become a bookkeeper, but they've never said anything because you don't have enough people in your center that want to become a bookkeeper. So there's never been anything offered around that. But as you have them cruising around the websites or the eChannel course guide, you see that there's a essential skills for bookkeeping. And they're like, wow, I want to take that. Well, you don't have the resources to put on a course for just that one person, but that one person and that one person from over there and that one person from over there, they can all come together and take that online. So all of a sudden you're opening up doors that maybe weren't there for someone before. So I'm going to say you don't know until you try. So have your clients sit there and take a look at what courses are offered, and maybe something's going to spark a light in them and they'll be like, wow, I really want to take that course. The other thing I'm going to encourage you guys to do is talk to your eChannel stream leads. Send us ideas. These are the new courses that we have coming at GLA, and I know that many of these came from a session we had up north. And some of the feedback we had was, wow, mental health is such a big thing and I don't know how to handle it. Like, I don't have the expertise to handle that. Well, we don't have the expertise either, but what we did do is we went out and we took a look and thought, okay, people are dealing with mental health. Let's do an awareness course about it, and offer that to our clients and our LBS sites as well. And so that's where this one came from. They were saying low-level clients, you don't have anything live for math. They like the live classes. They want to work on math, and there's nothing available. So we've started November 8th. It'll be Math in Your Path. The other thing, too, is the one I had that said, you know what, Linda? It's really hard to talk to my clients about hygiene. I really wish you had something that I could just send them to so we didn't have to have that awkward conversation. And I said, oh, okay, I get that one. So we've got getting a jump on a healthy lifestyle, which includes that hygiene aspect as well. Our Ontario Works readiness programs are our first step in our job readiness and our introduction to post-secondary readiness, which are all community programs we run, came from the community. It came from the community and the needs out there. So don't be afraid to say, wow, I've seen this, a couple learners come in and they'd really like this, but we don't have the resources. What can you do for us? And give us a shout and talk to us about what your needs are. So we're almost done, and I put this up, and Sarah, I didn't tell you I was putting this up, sorry. And I don't, but I love this picture. And I love this picture because it represents to me, it's sitting beside my desk, it represents to me what I hope that the field can aspire to. So we've got Contact North. Sarah's with Contact North. She's our support organization. We have a Northern Indigenous Stream on-site program. We have the Indigenous Stream lead for eChannel, and we have ONLC represented as well, our support program. And so we can all work together and to support our clients. And I think by working together, we have such an opportunity to support and build a really strong LBS opportunity for our clients and just support. So I'm really excited about these webinars and that we're going to do some more talking about blended learning. And I hope that we've burst some myths that you have heard about blended learning. And I know that there's a bunch of things in text chat as well, so I'm going to kind of go through and read them. But if there are any questions, we have 2 minutes. I'm happy to stay around longer, but we do have 2 minutes left. If there's any questions, feel free to raise your hand, but I'm open to them.
While Linda's reading, I just want to repeat that we will be following up the webinar with messaging to all of you to give you the links to the recording, to distribute some of the resources that Linda's sharing with us for you, and to invite you to register for upcoming webinars, as well as the webinar evaluation link that I have also put in the text chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Some great comments in text chat. I know if you're listening to the recording, you don't see the text chat, but some great suggestions by Alpha Plus on some free extensions as well. So again, please check out Alpha Plus for their resources. And when we were talking about places to access computers, contact Northsites. You know, maybe there's a small community outside of you that has a small contact Northsite, and you can go sit there and help with, or go out, do some outreach out there too. And then they've got the technology support, because I know someone was saying that they don't have, that connectivity can be a problem in a rural area, and that's very true. I can go up to Attawapiskat and have really good service, but I go up to my parents, that is 2 hours north of Toronto, and I can't get online. So rural areas really have a bit of an issue too. So, you know, look for areas that maybe have some stable internet, contact Northsites, Employment Ontario sites, those types of things. We try to get learners their own laptops through RCT Outreach for low-income learners, and then Wi-Fi is truly everywhere: cafes, restaurants, community centers, McDonald's. You got it. There's lots of opportunities, so great suggestion, Maggie. The Chromebook conversation option, contact us for info, Maria says. Transportation is an issue for some people, right? So maybe they can only afford to or make the trip in once in a while to you. So give them the support and get them online, and then the rest of the time maybe they're accessing from home or somewhere closer to them. Sharing the presentation. Yes, Sarah will. Sarah will, and the other thing we'll be sending out too is in a Google Doc, because I'm going to encourage you guys to try and expand your your knowledge base too. This is view only, and if I add things to it, which I'll maybe go through a little bit here, is I'll add some, and as I add things to this, it will automatically update for you as well in that link. So we'll try to put a few of the other resources that people mentioned in here, and we'll go from there. So thanks everybody. If you have to leave, we understand. I'm still trying to get through the text chat, and we'll address anything I see. So thank you so much for your time. Chimigwech, Ladian, really enjoyed. We're glad that you could join us. Oh, good question, Sue. Is Sue still here? Sue is. Okay. So Sue, you're looking for any chance that some of the eChannel Learning could be available on CD for areas where internet access is a problem. I know GLA, we don't have anything like that right now. Sarah, I'm wondering if, yeah, I don't even know. I know that sometimes you can go and download Sabbath, like if you had a laptop, you could download the recording, and then can you play that offline, Sarah?
it's a challenge. What I would like to say is that in the next year, um, part of the resources that the ministry is making available for improvements to LBS will consider the needs of those who just can't access online services. So I just want to let you know that we're keeping this kind of thing in mind. And I'll turn it back to you, Linda.
Um, what I can do is I will I can put that out to the other e-leads. I don't know if everybody was here today or not. Um, Offline activities. Yeah, that's tough, and I know that I struggle with that when I get into communities, Northern Ontario. Some of the flying communities that don't have access to internet is um, it's a tough one. Still getting to some of the questions. I hope people are still here. Thank you. Thanks for everybody. There's some great positive comments in here. Thank you so much. And I had brought into a couple of, I had bought into a couple of months and helped them spread. So thanks, Helen. Well, we appreciate you attending today. And also, can a group of 5 or 6 people access a course at one time? We would love the courses, and we often think we could offer an e-channel short course in a group. My suggestion to you is, especially with Good Learning Anywhere, just contact us with those ideas. We're happy to work with you guys to try to figure out, again, that flexible online learning is so key to us, to contact us to see what we can do to support you. So if you got 5 or 6 and you need something, just let us know and we'll see what we can do for you. So definitely contact us, Sue, about that. And do instructors get to preview courses before they sign up students so they can have a better understanding what they are getting their students into? There is a catalog of courses. So that is actually on our links as well. At the bottom, I put the Good Learning Anywhere fall catalog. The other thing is to, again, I'm speaking for GLA on this one, and I encourage you to talk to the e-channel leads, but for us, just contact us. Don't try to go and register behind the scenes and pretend you're a student, because that just messes up our numbers. Just give me a shout, call our 800 number and talk to Sue, and she will be able to get you into she'll be able to get you a bit of a look on that as well, what that might look at like. So again, if it's staff and they need to take a creating documents, or you want to learn more about Google Docs and they're signing up for it, that's great. But if you just want to take a peek at it, then just give us a shout and let us know, and we will definitely try to work with you to give you the best view that we can. Sometimes we can put you right in the course and just send you a login and let you look at it. Other times, depending on the platform, we'll have to be a bit more creative. But again, we are here to work with you guys, so let us know what's going to work for you, and we'll try and do our best. Yeah, and Sarah points out, so on the bottom of this blended learning webinar tips 2 is the Contact North Fall catalog, and they put that out every term. And then we have one too that, oh, and we have some more OELCF information into it as well, and competencies, and so and a bit more description in some of them. So you can take a look at that as well. So that's great. I just encourage you guys to give us a shout, talk to us. We're not scary. Give us a shout, call our 800 number, talk to Sue if you have any problems. Give me a shout if you have an idea you're thinking about. We're happy to talk to you guys and to brainstorm with you. Yeah. Okay, it looks like people are logging off, so Chi-miigwech, everybody, for being here today, and Sarah, just thank you so much for your support and your moderation and getting this online. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Linda, for a wonderful presentation, and thanks to our enduring audience. We're so glad so many people could listen to this presentation, and I know it will be shared. So do watch for my messaging following this webinar. We're going to stop recording now, but we'll be out there, and you'll have our contact information if you have questions and needs coming up in the future, and we hope you'll continue to participate in these online community of practice webinars for LBS. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic day. Bye for now.